right, welcome back. We are here for Once More Into the Void. I think I'm going to call this the subtitle of this series Timeline. We'll see how well this goes. Episode 2. We had recruitment of our crew last time with the Captain Tal Kai, and yeah, we're just gonna see where we go for this particular session. So, in character keeper order, we'll have Kevin pick next as the reformed, but just two things for the recording. Um, Even though it's your turn to pick a minigame, you don't necessarily have to pick a minigame that your character will appear in. So you can perfectly, pick a scene that you pick for other characters. And again, just to remind you about the general rule, you can always just read out what's written, fill any blanks from your own imagination, and you can ad lib instead. So just let the prompts be your start, your guide, but don't let it like hang you up if you decide to be a little bit more organic with play. Okay, so I mean, yeah, I I can trust you all to be like really good role players. So again, just use it as a starting off point, but don't let it like hang you up for the rest of the mini game. Okay, so yeah, please feel free to elaborate freely. All right. So, Kevin, start us off. What mini game is going up first?
I kind of want to delve into the past of this crew, but also do a little bit of world building. And looking at our scene list, I'm really kind of interested in what we built without you between
Okay.
Mori and Max.
Okay. What we built without you. All right. Um. Oh. Sorry. I'm so used to doing this, having played this a few times already. Let's do like just a tiny bit of like just reintroduction of our characters real quick. Since this is just the second episode. But yeah. I'm playing Captain Tal Kai. I'm Mads, and yeah, like trying to bring this broken crew back together after years of being apart, because we are facing our old enemy again. Some peoples called the progenitors, I think we called them, that are trying to regain their timeline back, like their what they call, I guess, their sacred timeline, and they just want to wipe out anything else that isn't theirs. So just gonna popcorn this over to Kevin as our reformed.
Sure. Yeah, I'm Kevin, he, him. I'm playing the Reformed, named Harmony. She was a progenitor, is a progenitor, technically speaking, but she's a turncoat and sided with the captain and the crew in the previous conflicts. When the captain found her, it was on some sort of like neo noir kind of planet. There was some spice going on, but she's yearning, enigmatic, and beautiful. And uh, yeah, we haven't delved too much into like her contributions to the crew necessarily, but her connection with the progenitors, I think, makes her a valuable asset. And I'll just popcorn it from here over to Elle playing the Strange.
Yeah, I'm playing Max, Medical Assistance Extension, The Strange. He is uh basically an organic being with a sort of robotic skeleton. He is created to be a medical expert for the ship's crew, as well as being a sort of repository of replacement parts. So he really sees himself as, in many ways, a servant of the people here. Like he exists to help them and to heal their wounds. He is lab grown. He's a doppelganger and he is mesmerizing. And he sees the captain as apparently his only friend. So that's him.
Yeah, I think that leaves me. So Jazzy, she, her, playing Mori, she, they, the steadfast. She is soft, heartbroken, and seductive. Also, given things sort of that we said off camera, I'm like, is that true? I don't know. But that is the vibe that we're going with. Yeah, and last time we saw her she's the only one that stayed with the captain when, everything fell apart, and they've sort of been living with the captain with Tal Kai for a while now. They had this little home on Mori's home planet where they harvest, well, not they, but like a lot of the people there have an economy of harvesting star energy, sending it all across the galaxy to power ships and whatnot. It was a very cute scene of domestic bliss that was them disturbed by the reality of having to go back and be the captain. And Mori has some thoughts about that. We'll see where that goes.
Okay. So you want to play What We Once Were?
Yeah. I
Okay.
want to see more about what the other crew members were up to between the adventures.
Okay, so What We Once Were is a minigame for 2 or more crew members who experience a flashback, a direct look at the past that may hurt or strengthen us, yeah?
No, sorry. What we built without you.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay. What we built without you. This is a minigame for all crew members. All right, so exploring a sanctuary that was built while the captain and crew were torn apart. Everyone will interact with a community that reflects the crew member who helped build it. Chance for the crew to remember who and what they're fighting for. So, crew member who has the most to lose will describe a private sanctuary that will offer us peace, respite, and recovery. What is your sanctuary like? There are some ideas listed here, but I think we kind of identified like the 2 most appropriate people, I guess, would be like either Mori or Max would have this private sanctuary. Who do you think would have it?
I believe Elle said that she had an idea for Max, and I would love to hear that. So,
Okay. All right. What do you think?
Sure. I'm imagining that underneath that lab where Captain Tal Kai came to recruit Max, there's a vast and sprawling sort of underground structure where the real research has been happening. And Max, along with Max and Max and Max and Max and a few others, um, has been working on uh, trying to decode the progenitor's language, trying to understand how the timelines are tangled, um, trying to understand why the progenitors are coming back now. I think Max wasn't surprised by that spontaneous attack during his and the captain's scene because that has been happening more and more frequently in the lab lately.
Okay. Um, why haven't you revealed its existence before this moment?
Because Max really wanted to have something more to show when the captain came to find him. He wanted to have everything figured out, and he's still so far.
So, we can decide as a group what setback, complication, or severe injury forces us to find this safe place to recover, or what forces, of course, Max to reveal this existence of the sanctuary. Do you call it something specific, or this is just your extension below your lab?
Um, this is also the lab where Max was created, so I think he calls it the womb,
Ooh.
which is normal and not creepy at all. It's fine.
Right.
thanks. I hate it.
Okay, this will play into really great because it goes for like which crew member feels the most uncomfortable later. Anyway, okay, so what do we think would send us here? Like something wrong with the ship, you know, um,
If
something with
if
one of us.
yeah, if I could recall correctly, either the captain or Harmony got hurt last session, is that correct? Or was
We
like
had to battle
did
to get like Harmony and the captain had to fight to get out of wherever we were.
We didn't
yeah.
narrate any particular injuries, but
No.
Harmony does have some scars.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
Maybe when we get out and like actually get it all back together again, then that's maybe where Tal Kai like finally notices, and it's like, you need to be healed. You need to get this taken care of now before.
There was another scene that we were planning on doing in the ship's infirmary that might address
Mhm.
that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm
What
wondering if.
if
Oh,
oh, go
good.
ahead. Go ahead.
I was just going to steal from the movie Serenity and just say like either the ship is there's upgrades that this place could provide us, or there's either like a heavy progenitor patrol that we need to dodge, and like this is the closest sanctuary where we can lay low for a while and let that storm pass.
I like that. That
Mhm.
sounds good. Maybe this is something that Max offers as like a safe house while this is going on. And yeah. Okay. So, if that sounds good to you, Elle, then like, we can kind of go forward with it. Let's see.
That sounds great. The crew's safety is my number one priority after all.
Yeah. Okay. So, each crew member describes what has changed about them since we last saw them. So, since the recruitment, what has changed? Like from their recruitment montage. So, I think maybe not a lot of time has passed, but I mean, like, at the very least, it's like where we are kind of gathering supplies, like what we can while we're laying low. And so therefore it's like, we're uniformed and gathering whatever weapons we have, whatever we could collect. And Tal Kai is just in his usual sleeveless duster. He's got his long hair tied back in his braid and um, tail. And then he's also got his weapons stowed away, like behind and in the tail of his coat, and he's just kind of taking in what Max has created down here, and all the other Maxes, of course, that are doing their work, and you know, uh, just wondering where they could fit in or take some rest here. If there's anything that they could do while they wait for the progenitor patrol to pass. What does everybody else look like?
I think Harmony, when we saw her in the recruitment, she was, very much lounge singer, 1920s flapper, sort of aesthetic. And now that she's back on the ship, she's more Mass Effect, uh, cat suit, sort of uh, almost retro futuristic, um, very sleek, sort of cat suit going on. I think she has either like a jetpack or an anti-grav belt, or maybe like both of them together that lets her sort of like drift around and make sure that she's always at 1G or half G. Um, but I think it's still like her same colors, which are sort of like green and gold sort of motif going on. Um, but most importantly, to what we already know of her, she's wearing these strangely bulky gloves that come up over her hands up to about her forearm. And that's her.
I think for Mori, we see, sort of by the captain's side as almost in like a bodyguard kind of vibe where I'm like always, like one or two paces behind you, but always hovering somewhere near. I think for Mori, we see where before we saw her in like that very domestic setting where they seemed very much part of, like they seemed like they were where they belonged. I think now we see, yeah, the outfit has changed. I think it's like all like layers of fabric and all of them designed to be like as protective and like as seductive as possible. Like every curve accentuated, every like edge of her softened to almost look like it's this weird mix of like threatening and non-threatening where it's like just enough to be like dangerous and mysterious, but also very much like this is a person that's you could take home like right now, is sort of the vibe. But I think more than that, we see where before we saw her sort of challenge the captain back and like speak up in a bit of a cold way almost. I think now we see just like very like her eyes are like completely white, white eyelashes, like no pupils or anything. Like it's just sort of this glowing white light where eyes would be. But even so, even so, I think humans would say that the expression on her face is like melancholic, like soft and a little sad. And everything around her has just sort of softened out as if to project that to the others.
And according to other mini games, supposedly there's other crew with the ship aside from the player characters. So, like a little side people. So we can choose to have them around as well. But the character who owns the sanctuary will choose a price to pay. So on page 45, yeah, Elle, can you pick one of those prices to pay?
Sure, before I do that, I'll update you on what has changed about me
Oh yeah,
since
sorry,
you last
sorry.
saw me. No, no worries. So I think I was saying that as usual, Max is wearing this kind of futuristic white medical uniform.
Mhm.
But just above the collar, we can still see the edge of the surgical scar from when he had his torso splayed open. But it's even in this short time, it's almost completely healed. It's just barely there, as though, like, in a moment, you won't know it was ever there at all. And I don't think I've ever described Max himself, so I think um he's like extremely ethnically ambiguous. Like if you ever saw the Time Face of the Future cover where they're like, this is what people will look like in 25 years, and it's just a tan person with like light brown eyes and dark curly hair who's like you don't quite know where they came from. That's Max. It's like a sort of focus grouped kind of appearance where he could belong to almost any ethnicity. And as far as his demeanor, I think in the depths of the sanctuary, he seems unusually distracted. And it's unclear, perhaps, whether it's trying to manage the cognitive load of sharing his consciousness with the other bodies around, um, or whether there's something about the composition of the crew that is throwing him off. Oh, and I meant to choose a price to pay.
Yes.
Okay, it says you lead the crew to an old friend, ally, or family member who can aid in your crew's recovery. What do you need help with? They'll help freely, but you must give them what they truly want. I think that one of the Maxes volunteers to be kind of plugged into some of the progenitor machinery here to help us track their movements more easily so that we know when it's safe to go back to the ship. But that's a scary prospect because who knows what might be downloaded onto his hardware. So Max Prime, has to promise to the other that no matter what, even knowing what we know about Mori, you can't judge her. You have to do your job. You have to do what you were made for. And our Max simply nods, although he also throws an appraising or critical gaze Mori's way.
Interesting thought. Okay. All right. So is this the promise you both know you can't keep?
Yeah, I think so. Max has already made up his mind a little bit.
Interesting. Okay. Price to pay picked. All right. The player whose character is most nervous about the sanctuary. Who's that? Is it Mori? Is it Harmony? Captain's kind of neutral because, I mean, he didn't know about this and he's used to Max a bit more than I think the other two. Who do you think's more nervous about the sanctuary? Because that would be the person taking the first turn. Choosing a moment.
Um, I think it might be Harmony.
Okay. Alrighty.
There's progenitor technology here, and even though she uses it and utilizes it, it makes her uneasy because of her past.
Sure.
And in fact, I think the moment that we zoom in on is that someone in the sanctuary confronts me for the wrongs I've committed and the past I can't outrun. And so Harmony, I think, is helping this Max get set up with progenitor technology and is helping out with the translations, the gaps they can't figure out themselves. And I don't think we have a progenitors are just from another timeline, but we're still human. I don't think there's maybe there are visible markers that are that can set Harmony apart, make it very apparent at glance, or maybe people kind of suss it out when she helps out with all of this stuff. But
Did we ever establish that the progenitors have some sort of like, I don't know, like either um like body markings or specific like um cultural traits that, I don't know.
we have not. I would be keen to hear any suggestions, or if they are. We know that there were some that were masquerading as humans, but this is a sci-fi fantasy world. People can change their, hide
Sure.
whatever they might have had. Um, I don't think Harmony would, but yeah, I'm curious if you guys have any ideas. Like maybe some of her skin are no. I was gonna say maybe some of her skin are scales, but um, something that a corrupted timeline would have done to humanity.
I feel like it would involve some sort of like, I mean, cybernetics or something like that. I mean, like, you kind of like see some kind of like embedded tech or something like that that would be indicative of like the etchings or the designs would be very similar.
Yeah, maybe it's not quite like, the way that we normally think about like Android technology is like you replace your arm with a robotic arm or something like that. But
Hmm.
maybe the progenitors have more of a symbiotic relationship with technology.
Right.
And so you can actually see um like circuitry lines running through her body, and it's like pseudo organic.
Yes.
um yeah, and like even as a sort of like a sort of heartbeat, you might even see like a sort of pulse of light sometimes go through. She keeps most of her body covered, but maybe just like around her jaw or cheeks, every now and then you might see like if her veins were glowing, but instead of that more organic spread of veins, you see instead the sort of pulsing lines of circuitry. um
So,
I I have a suggestion, and stop me if we feel like that's too dark, but because we know that there are issues with your timeline, we know that the progenitors can't quite exist as long as we exist because this timeline is broken and it doesn't like it needs to be healed. So I feel like what if there is like a sense of like almost like lag around you at times, like a movement that like like it does on the camera, like it isn't like quite picked up, or like when you blink it's just sometimes maybe it like lingers just slightly too much, like there's a sense of time not react, or like you going through time this time in not quite the same way as we all are, because we are from this timeline, you are not, and there are maybe just like subtle signs where time is like adjusting weirdly around you. And I don't know if it's like a painful thing, if you notice it, if we notice it, if it like increases or decreases, but I feel like there's something around, yeah, how time allows your presence here.
yeah, I like that. And maybe there's even something like uh I've never played Overwatch, but I know there's a character who that's like her whole thing is she's basically severed from time. And so they had to like she actually has to wear a chrono stabilizer of some kind. And so maybe there's actually this big piece of technology on her. Either I was talking about like a jetpack earlier, like a backpack style jetpack. But I wonder if she actually has to carry like some sort of technology that stabilizes her in this timeline. And if she doesn't, she'll start doing that sort of like blink in and out of
you
uh
glitch.
yeah.
You glitch. I mean, basically, that's probably why it's like again that shadow defect because you were missing your glitch tech. You know.
Yeah.
So anyway, so someone in the sanctuary confronts you for the wrongs you've committed in the past you can't outrun.
Yeah, because I wasn't always a turncoat. That was something that Captain Tal Kai during the first conflict, we might have even begun as adversaries. um and there's probably things that progenitors have done and did, and probably even things Harmony did. um there might even be like a specific colony or planet, a part of this timeline civilization.
Max, is there anyone here? Max Prime. Is there anyone else here besides the other Maxes in this sanctuary?
Ooh, I wasn't imagining so, but if you have a need or a desire for there to be someone in particular, I'm obviously open to that.
I would imagine so because it would have to be somebody that would recognize Harmony as being of the progenitors and possibly being outraged that someone is here of yeah.
Oh, I
Yeah.
do, for what it's worth, I do think Max knows that Harmony is a progenitor.
Right.
Um, I don't know yet why he accepts her, but I'm imagining something happened in the past where she gained his trust, and maybe we'll find out what that is in play.
Well, I mean, like this is the good. I mean, if Max is the other person in this scene, then this would be the question that Harmony would ask. So, is this the scene that we're having with Harmony and Max, or Harmony, are you asking somebody else to be in the scene with you? I would imagine so. If this is somebody else in the sanctuary that's working with the Maxes, also hiding out against the progenitors, so maybe it's not just us. Maybe it's like other people that have decided to aid the resistance or aid against the progenitors. Um, you know, uh,
Yeah. Either like an assistant or a lab tech.
yes.
Um, but I think somebody comes up to Harmony like red-eyed, teary, pointing an accusing finger and says something along the lines of like, I had family on jump 27 and they're gone because of you.
Who's here with you, Harmony?
I think Max Prime is. And Harmony is trying everything in her power to, she doesn't deny it, not in the least. She remembers what happened on jump 27 or to jump 27. And yeah,
That's the question.
do you stand by my side and help me begin to make amends? Or do you abandon me to this difficult task alone?
I think that Max he is with you sort of working at a monitor, his finger sort of deftly moving over the keys, and he stops typing when the lab tech accuses you. You know that he's listening. And if you were to look his way, you would see that he wants to say something. But I think the other Maxes share his like knowledge base, but they don't have this particular Max's memories. They have no reason to trust you except that Max Prime says that it's okay. And he can't bring himself to stand up for you and have to kind of articulate the full weight of the shared history you have, especially in light of this justifiably angry person. And as long as she doesn't hurt you physically, Max is technically still doing his job.
Yeah, then I think at some point, Harmony's trying to hold her hands up as if to placate or apologize. But I think at some point, this lab tech will strike her. And we see her just get like, you know, punched down and she falls to the ground. And even if anybody tries to come up and help her, she'll wave them off and, you know, no, no, stay back. I'll, but she gets up and I think she walks away back to
Harmony,
the ship.
I'm sorry. I'll set it
No,
later.
no, it's, I'll send you my translation notes. That's, I'm sorry. I just shouldn't be seen here right now. And she sulks off to the ship.
Mori, your turn to pick a moment.
Good boy. Let's see. also have a moment with Max. Which one though? Ooh, or maybe with Harmony. There's like two prompts that I'm looking at and I really can't decide.
They're all really fun, so.
Yeah, I'm looking at the communicating with the enemy or a cache of messages, but I know that we wanted to do a confrontation with Max where they're like, I know, about your son, and I don't know if this is like gonna help set that up or like usurp that, if that makes sense.
We can let it marinate for a while if you want to go for your other choice. Because we can do a whole mini game around that, right?
Yeah. Um, yeah, in that case, I think I'll go for the we find a personal cache of messages never sent. And if you're okay with it, Elle, I think maybe because you're remind me, are you the one who's like no, there's like someone who's hooked up that is like monitoring like the enemy's movement, and then you are Max is translating like a bunch of knowledge or
Yeah, maybe we'll say that Max and Harmony were working on like translating the readout from the Max that's plugged in.
mm-hmm. Would you be okay if Mori, maybe like Harmony, has slunk off and Mori like sees you working alone and will, there, if she can translate this language, she's not going to say it. But I think she is sort of, helping you just sort through like, this is redundant data. We don't need that. Oh, this is actually important. This may be important, like she's sort of sorting through the data for you. What if I pull up a message log and I'm sort of reading through it, and halfway through I realize it's one of your message logs and they're like addressed to crew members, but I know that I never read any of these messages. I know they were never sent. And like I will, like as Mori sort of realizes that and that awkward moment sets between us, she kind of like respectfully looks away. And by doing so, I think will look right at you.
Yeah, I think you turn to see that Max is looking right at you too, with a sort of unfamiliar blankness in his expression. I, no one was supposed to see those. It's the reason they're not sent. He like kind of does the equivalent of like the backspace to like whatever you were looking at before. It's preferable to what's on screen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think Mori too will like sort of immediately pull something else up and says, "Sorry, Max, I didn't know. There were so many of them."
I realized I would be overstepping my role if I were um trying to make personal connections, I suppose. So I dedicated myself to the work here and hoped that the captain would remember me.
He did. He does.
Do you and the captain talk about everything together?
We talk about many things. Or he talks and I listen.
Hmm. But you have things you've wanted to say to him? Messages you haven't sent, in a sense?
Everyone does. I Yes. Yes, I suppose I have messages that I haven't sent. Let's keep this between us, but sometimes I practice them at night. I made these grand speeches about all the things I would say, not just to the captain. I had plenty of time to talk, to call, to tell, but I wondered what I would say to you or Harmony.
Well, I am here. What would you say to me?
She will, for a moment, be silent and sort of look through the messages. All these big speeches, they're all gone. I suppose thank you is one thing that I wanted to say. I missed you is another. And don't you ever dare be who you were before.
I think Max sort of flinches at each of those, probably hardest at thank you. Well, if I were to send one message to you, I would say that you should remember that secrets can be dangerous. It is better to be honest, even when it might hurt, than to build a friendship or relationship or anything else on lies. That's why I can't. Programming won't let me.
Then why all those unsent messages? All these things you thought and didn't say. Are those not lies?
No, I would have been lying to myself if I sent them.
Then why are they still there, Max? Why weren't they deleted?
I think Max's face goes through like 3 different expressions in like a matter of 2 seconds. He actually doesn't know the answer to that. It cannot be that it was pure sentiment that made him keep the messages. And yet, I think we should return to our work, Mori. There's much to be done.
Yeah, and I think watching Max, like even though like that question was kind of harsh and like deflective, her expression does soften the way that it does when you see someone that you care for, sort of going through it, and having that sympathy. And I think in that act of almost mercy, she will simply nod and says, "Yes, there's still much to be done."
Elle, if you want to continue the flow, it's like you can pick a moment.
Oh gosh. Um, if the captain wants to have a moment with a different character,
I mean, again, I mean, if you want to do a moment with somebody, that's fine. I mean,
oh, I'm totally fine to go next. I feel like I was in the last 2 little scenes, so if someone else wanted to take the spotlight for a moment,
sure, sure, sure. If you want a breather, absolutely.
it'll also help me like look through and decide what I want to do because I
Sure,
haven't had a chance yet.
absolutely. Okay. Yeah. Let me do something like completely different. Hmm. All right. Yeah, I'll do something completely domestic. For the people that are here that aren't maxes, that are assisting or just, taking sanctuary, I prepare a meal. I actually will cook. Do you, Harmony, offer to make conversation and draw us closer, or do you tease me mercilessly in front of everyone? As you watch me in the galley, moving around and chopping up things and throwing them into pans and setting burners alight and putting things in ovens and, again, making enough for people to eat. I don't even think I notice you right away. I think I am so intent upon making sure that everything is enough for people. And then I think I only look up when I am relievedly putting like at least 2 pans to bake, and then just taking a sigh of relief when at least that's done. And then I see you in the door. Yes?
Oh, nothing. I was just watching a master at work.
I don't know about master. We'll see when people actually taste it.
A good captain is also a good cook. I don't remember who told me that.
Did you ever have my cooking? I don't remember.
You know, time is a funny thing.
Yes.
Now that you mention it, I don't think I've had your cooking, actually. Everything on the ship was mostly out of the prefab machines, and I think we were always a little too busy saving the galaxy to ever sit down and really have a meal.
There was no time.
Go, go, go.
Yeah. I don't remember having any leisure just to sit and let the let the oven heat, or take pleasure in. And he picks up a knife, just using an implement and chopping up things and not cutting down enemies. It's ridiculous, right?
Yeah, you'd better be careful. If I didn't know better, I'd wonder if maybe you were being replaced. Evil Captain Tal Kai, chef extraordinaire.
Again, proof is in the pudding? No. Well, if you need to replace me as captain of the ship because my cooking is spectacular, well, I guess I should shove off now, huh?
Oh, you don't have to be so dramatic.
I thought that's what you loved about me.
It's one of the things I loved about you.
Where did it go? Where did
Where
it
all
go?
things go in time, into our memories.
But where did I go wrong, Harmony?
What do you mean?
We turned them around somehow. We stopped them once. But then we all broke up. We all went our separate ways. And
I think Harmony crosses the distance and like puts her hand on Captain Tal Kai's to get him to stop chopping fucking vegetables for a second. We won. We did it. We succeeded. We finished the mission.
they're back.
And they might come back again long after we're gone. To them, they're fighting for their survival. You can't ever truly wipe them out. Unless
Unless what?
nothing.
Harmony. Unless what?
Don't ask questions you don't want the answer to.
Don't throw that kind of thing out if you don't want to tell me. And his face is very close to yours. Harmony, what do you know that you're not telling me?
When the time is right, I'll let you know. It might not come down to it. It might be
The time is now. That they're back. That. What do you mean? Why are you being cryptic?
I shouldn't have said anything. I'm sorry.
No.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Are you? Why can't you tell me? Why are you hiding this now?
The captain I knew lived for the fight. Do anything for victory. Oh, I would do anything to keep fighting. But no, when it came to victory, I'm not sure you have what it takes. And I'm not sure I would follow you if you were the person who did. Now, all this isn't conversation we should be having over souffle.
Are you saying I'm not me? Or are you saying I'm less than I was?
I'm not saying either of those things. You are exactly who you think you are and who you aim to be. And that is what I love about you.
You are so damned aggravating. Why are you doing this? He's not looking at you. He's breathing this into your ear.
She'll duck under his arm. And in order to do so, of course, she has to brush fully against him. And she'll head back to the entrance to the galley. Don't let it sit in the oven too long. It'll burn that way. And then she just sort of heads back to the ship.
Elle, do you know which scene you want next?
I think so. I think this could be an interesting counterpoint, I guess, to the scene that we just saw. Um, I'll say that someone in the sanctuary has saved hollow clippings and mementos of the captain's days of glory and prestige. I think Max comes to the captain, perhaps right after dinner, and says, Captain, can I show you something? Very excitedly.
Certainly, Max.
And Max leads the captain to a little room. When the lights click on, it's a sort of disturbing sight at first. There's like a kind of semicircle of Max heads, basically, on like little glass pedestals. Um, and Max just says, "Hold on, one moment. I'm setting it up still." And
Okay.
he'll use each of the heads as a sort of projector, turning on the kind of optical projection capability, and do like kind of 3D projection of basically clips from Max's memory of things that he saw the captain do. Those moments where the captain swooped in to save someone at the last moments. The beautiful speech that the captain made when we finally turned the progenitors away the first time. And he just lets it play and watches the captain with this dopey smile on his face, like he's gonna love this. Yes, Max made a fan cam.
It's got like this poppy scent over it and like the fade wipe.
Oh god. Holy crap. and and yeah, Tal Kai's just like, first he's got his arms folded, like, because he's waiting for, like, what the hell is this, kind of thing, and then like his jaw drops and he's like, uh, and he's just like in shock. He's like, uh, this is quite the collection. Max, did you do this?
I thought that going back into this battle or whatever lies before us, you needed a reminder. Everything you've done. You're a hero to so many people.
And then he just gets this look on his face, like he's going inward and thinking and looking stricken, because this is an image that people see, Max. This this is what the progenitors had made of me as part of their prophecy, I think.
Max shakes his head. No, Captain, it's what I saw. Literally. You don't remember this the way I do?
No, I don't. I see a man who can make pretty speeches and save people when it counts, but not all the people, not all the time, and is still fallible. And perhaps may demand a certain amount from others that may not be able to be a standard that perhaps cannot be met by himself.
Well, speaking only for myself, I've never seen you fail. And I've never been disappointed.
Oh, Max. You say I am your only friend.
You are. The other Maxes don't count. They're also me.
And this is where he walks over to you. And he says, people don't just have one friend. One friend cannot be all to a person. But this is a grand gesture on your part, and I do appreciate it. I just know it's not all me. Do you understand? This is this is this is someone who seems like a hero, but it's not me all the time. I've let people down, Max. I just want to be honest with you about that. And there's probably going to be a time where I'm going to let you down too.
No. I don't believe it, Captain. And for what it's worth, I'm not people.
What are you then? What are you, Max? Who are you, Max? Can you tell me? And he gets closer to you, looking at you with those eyes. Who are you, Max?
You asked the wrong question, Captain. Not who. What? And I am here for you. I'll leave the projection running until we leave. Would you like that?
And he looks away for a moment, and then he looks up and gives you the most direct order that you've heard him say for quite some time. No. Download it. Save it. Might need it for a little bit of inspiration for later on, but I think for right now, it has served its purpose. But I thank you, Max. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Captain. Anytime. And I mean that literally. I do not sleep, as you know.
I am still partly human, Max. I do. And he takes his leave of you. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So, do we want to? I mean, like we've hit the hour, so we can take a break and then, uh, do more moments from here, or we can when we finish the break, then we can go into the ending of this particular thing. So we'll decide when we come back from break. Okay. So let's take 10 minutes and then figure it out once we're back. All right. See you in 10. Alrighty, so Harmony, pick the next moment.
Yeah, so I might be taking a little bit of liberty with what all is going on in this sanctuary, but it does sound like we've established there's some other people here.
Yes.
And so I think a child makes their way to us, insists on becoming friends. And this is probably either like in the ship's hangar bay, or maybe someplace like slightly adjacent to where all of the actual important stuff is going on. And Mori is nearby. But I'd like to introduce Harmony's weapon technology. I don't really know what exactly we would call it. But these gloves of hers, uh, this child comes up and with that full, like wide-eyed, blissful, childlike curiosity is just being a whole little bother and shit. Um, but uh, Harmony's gloves, she does some sort of like a couple hand gestures with them. They sort of like crackle electricity between the fingertips. And when she opens her hands away from each other, if you're familiar with Bioshock Infinite, the character in that story has the ability to essentially reach into other timelines and sort of pull things through these sort of gaps in reality. And so what we see is this sort of like black and white fabric sort of open up in time or reality, and another version of this hanger appears. Well, it doesn't fully appear, just a little, um not even the size of a window, but uh through Harmony's control, um something, some little doohickey or doodad, that she has no idea what it does, appears on like in a sort of like empty space and clatters to the ground, and Harmony collapses that reality, and she walks over and picks it up and hands it to the child, who giggles and walks away. And Mori, do you help me form a sincere connection, or are you content to watch me flounder? And maybe to just like add a little bit, maybe Harmony is like struggling actually a little bit with, this sort of, either this technology, or when the kid notices her glowing, the techno veins that we've described earlier, maybe there's like a bit of hesitation there.
Yeah. I think Mori was probably like helping out with some kind of mundane task when she sees you and the kid. And I think there is that moment, like almost like that double take, where she's like, even before you do anything, where it's like, oh, like a little bit of a tensing in the shoulders. Like that little white flare goes like just a little bit more. But I don't know if you crouch down or like start to do it. And for a moment, I think she'll just watch. And seeing you open up that timeline, they wonder how many versions of her there are, if they all feel like this, if there are ones where it went different. But that doesn't matter. We're here. We're here right now. And I think as she starts to see you struggle, she will walk over, sort of crouch down on the kid's level. Give her like this sweet smile. And I think she's like crouching down like close to you, like not touching you, but you can sort of feel like her body heat like next to you. And I think she'll say something like, "Do you see that? That is time. She can control it, parts of it." And I think Mori will reach out maybe to. Do you think that she like sort of knows what this does? Or does she surprise you by knowing what this does? Because she does have like those progenitor connections.
I think Harmony used this technology to great effect in the last conflict. I think it's everyone in the crew is well aware that Harmony has this technology or this ability, and is why she's a valuable asset to the crew. Because every now and then you just need some cover in the middle of a firefight.
Yeah. Yeah, I think sort of without hesitation or fear, she will sort of like reach out, like not quite into it, because I assume that's a very, very bad idea. But like she pulls out the toy to basically like help you, like she'll pull it out so you can collapse it quicker. And then like holding it, she will give it to like she'll sort of hold it on her palm as if to say like Harmony should give it. Like she's not, gonna take that moment of you actually giving it. But I think she's just sort of like reassuring this child, like it's a magic trick, like there's nothing to be afraid of. It's just, yeah, this girl here, she knows how to make time do things. Isn't that fascinating?
And Harmony trepidatiously, I think, will take that little toy and hand it to the child. And yeah, when the veins sort of like pulse along her arm, and she goes, "That's right. I I can control time in small ways." And I think the child says like, "Progenitor."
I think Mori just smiles, in that kind of way where when a kid says something bad and you kind of just smile to not pull attention to it, but you don't want to scold them because then they're just gonna do it more. So I think she just like kind of smiles in that like, sure, sweetie, kind of way. But her eyes are on the toy and her expression has gone like I think like that telltale Mori, soft but sad, a quiet melancholy just like simmering there. And she will reach out and like without hesitation, she knows exactly what this toy is and what it does. And she will activate it as if she's done it so many times before. And I think maybe it's like some kind of like is it like maybe like a toy that like unfolds into like different shapes. Like it can be a butterfly, it can be like a really cool spaceship, and it does like, light up and all of that.
Yeah, I love that little transformer kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and yeah, a time fidget toy. And I think maybe like the kid kind of like gets distracted by it because cool toy is like so much more interesting than talking to the adults.
Yeah, and Harmony will stand back up and thanks.
Why? You're the one who decided to be sweet.
Seems to be a day for out of characteristic behavior.
I wouldn't say that's it.
You didn't hear the captain was cooking a big meal?
Oh, oh no.
I know, I said the same thing.
Should I should I intervene? Is it too late?
Oh, it's too late. We're all doomed.
No.
There's some things even time can't save.
It's not a souffle, is it?
It's a souffle.
Ah, yeah. Well, maybe we can at least save a child.
Child can be saved.
Good. Good. Maybe that's all one can hope for.
Really, that's kind of all I needed from that moment. But if we want to keep carrying it on, we can.
No. Yeah, no, I think that's a good end.
That's a good place to stop for that.
I guess like the only sad thing is like more like after that, I think we just get like one shot of Mori just like sadly looking after the child, wondering if,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Yeah. Yeah. The When you're ready to return to the ship, the one who grew the most attached to the sanctuary chooses an ending for the visit. Who got the most attached?
Well, not Harmony. They punched her.
Mm, mm, mm. Mori, the captain, Max, because it's their place. Um,
I don't think Mori is attached to the sanctuary itself. Like it's a place where we are, it's a place where tomorrow we won't be, maybe. Like it does not like she's not against it, but she's not like, like this is a place and it's okay.
got it. I mean, the I mean, captain's fairly neutral. I mean, you know, it is, you know, something that's important to Max, so that's pretty cool for the captain. But I mean, like, not like attached. So yeah, Elle, go ahead and pick an ending.
I mean, he does call it the womb, so
Yeah,
it
that's pretty
makes
attached.
sense.
Yeah, go ahead and pick an ending.
Sure. I'm going to pick that we found technology or equipment that we can use to create an advantage. How can this risk the safety of our ship or crew?
Okay. Well, you did have the one Max hooked up to the progenitors to let us
Y-
know when they were done with blah blah blah.
yeah, my thought is kind of that we got this very complex signal that
Okay.
Max picks up on. That's too complicated to decode or translate in the time that we have. So we need to bring that Max and maybe a few other Maxes to keep working on it onto the ship. The risk there being, I mean, this is progenitor technology and technology that we don't fully understand. And perhaps it gives the progenitors some way to hack into the ship to spy on us, like any sort of thing like that.
Yeah, that is possibly a problem. Oh boy. Okay, so hopefully everybody else remembered to get into the room because I forgot. So I'm in the room right now. In the playing cards room, we must go to page 44 because now we do the loyalty draw. All right, so everybody who visited the sanctuary, draw a card face up. Pick either deck, and then turn it over. Ah, fudge! So, any red card, the enemy grows stronger. If you drew a black card, you go first. You say how loyalty is regained. If you keep the card, you briefly describe what this regained loyalty looks like: a changed relationship, a new belief, a growing hope. If you give the card to another player, they describe the moment of closeness between you two. Okay. And then the rest of us, unfortunately, have to give a brief description of how the enemy grows stronger. God damn it. Okay, so, Elle, as the one who drew the black card, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm gonna give this card to the captain.
Oh, okay. Briefly describe a moment of closeness between them. I just want you to to tell me like where you think this happens, like when we're back on the ship or just before?
Let's say just before, maybe in the moments where Max is saying goodbye to his machine mother and his brothers.
I think, yeah, I think everybody else has gone ahead back to the ship. And I think, the captain waits for you. And I think, we are heading back to the ship together. And I think on the drive or the fly back, whatever, I think I think Tal Kai asks you, are you sure you're not giving up too much by coming back with us? By coming back with me, Max? Are you sure you want to do this?
I don't know what else I could want, Captain.
Could want to stay? You could stay in your lab in the womb and continue to decode the messages. You don't have to come with us. You could be doing good work with your sanctuary, with your lab. I'd understand if you didn't want to.
I'm doing the best work by keeping our galaxy's hero alive.
Okay, can I have you make me a promise, please?
Yes, Captain?
Do not refer to me as the galaxy's hero ever again, please.
Yes, Captain.
Thank you. And he just kind of has a little laugh and then continues to drive you both back to the ship. All right, and for the rest of us, god dang it. How does the enemy grow stronger? Yeah. Brief glimpse. Enemy, how they become more terrifying. And then once you describe it, then you put the red card down, face down on the pile of enemy cards, like in the upper left-hand corner of the playing card deck. Yep. So, whoever wants to go first or has a remote.
I think mine is very, very obvious. I think this is, I mean, night is a very funny thing in the galaxy, but like the ship is indicating that it's nighttime, right? The lights are low, just auxiliary lights, like just the necessary ones. It's silent, only the humming of the engines, perpetual, comforting to some. Mori in her quarters, in her room, like a small room, I assume, like fairly close to the captain's quarters. She sits on her bed, but she's not asleep. Some sort of screen lights up. She looks down and it just says, "Mother, can we talk?" And she types something back.
I think, yeah. I think we get a glimpse of the progenitor patrol that had been, really active around the time the crew was in the womb. They had briefly gone away, or they had receded or whatever, and then when the ship when the crew like leaves, and then the ship is underway to go where they're going, resupply or to refit or whatever. I think we see like a contingent of progenitors reappear in that sector near the lab, but they're not doing anything. They're actually like just kind of like reappearing in the sector, and then they're looking at some data pads that they have in their hands, like retriangulating something or whatever, and the message that appears on their pads is like something like target acquired. And that's all it says on their pads.
We see Harmony with a data pad in her hand, and she's sort of pacing back and forth by this Max that's hooked up to this gargantuan machine that's been moved into a quarantine bay inside the ship. And she's scrolling down over and over again on her data pad and looking up at the machine, cross-checking references. Her mouth is moving, but we don't hear anything that she's saying. But what we do hear is this sort of increasing pitch whine of the machinery as it sort of whirls up to life, and it begins to crackle with live electricity. Harmony is pointing at somebody to sort of say, shut it down, but there's this white flash of light, and Harmony is thrown up against a wall, and something in it sort of damages her stabilizer, and when she climbs back up onto her feet, she's a half second before and a half second after, and there's this sort of like shadow image behind her, and she starts glitching, and it takes a concerted effort for her to do a quick field repair, and when she finally stabilizes, she looks back up again, and the machine is calmed and quieted back down, but its threat is very real.
Damn. God. Okay. All right. Elle, you get to pick a mini game.
Oh no, I have to make a decision. How dare.
How dare.
Let's see.
From the list of mini games that people picked out from before. Yep.
I'm weirdly tempted to go with Before We Lose It All. But maybe we should build up to that a little bit.
I have
See.
found Before We Lose It All like tends to be like the one that looks like it's best before the last one, So
Yeah, I mean the scene that it's built from in Mass Effect 2 is basically like right before the final mission.
I was gonna say, like, I know exactly what quest that is.
But sometimes subversion of expectations is fun.
And since we're playing a timey-wimey, since we're playing a timey-wimey thing, it's almost like, backwards, forwards, whatever, I mean, if we want to, we could, but I mean, it's really up to you, like whatever you want, whatever scene you want to see, and it doesn't have to be a scene necessarily that includes you, so whatever your choice is. Yep.
That's true. I might go with a scene that doesn't include me. I think I might see a scene with I want to see the captain and someone. Maybe keep building up that tension between the captain and Harmony. Can we do Just Like Old Times?
Will the past help us or hold us back? Oh, man. 2 crew members who are pinned down and fighting against the enemy. All right. Someone who fought by your side in the past. Other players take turns conducting the battle. Okay. Ask your chosen partner why you need to impress each other so badly. How how your chosen partner, how the enemy got the drop on you, and why there won't be any backup for a while. Okay. So some ideas could be a quick run to pick up some supplies. Enemy ambushed us. We sought out an old contact for information, got sold out, or we didn't take the enemy seriously and got in over our heads. Well, first off, why do we need to impress each other so badly?
I think since that incident in the quarantine bay, Harmony's technology has not been working at 100%.
Mhm.
And she has to convince the captain that like she's still useful, that her command over time is still combat capable. And she is still combat capable for that regard.
And I think he's didn't quite admit it, but I mean, like, she shook him. Like, when she said what she said back at the womb, you know, he lost a little confidence. I know, right? Him. And yeah, he he needs to do something, anything at this point, he feels, to impress her, to, try to regain some of that confidence back. How did the enemy get the drop on us? Any one of those things or anything you make up?
I feel like we just got supplies. Like that
Mhm.
was kind of a big part of going to the sanctuary.
Yeah.
I kind of like riding the noir vibes like all the way to the bank. So the whole idea of an old contact that
Ooh.
sells us out,
Yeah.
just fits that like a glove.
Yeah.
So that's of the pre-made ones there, that or the suggestions. That is the one I'm most like leaning towards.
Gold contact for information. Yours or mine, you think?
It could be Harmony's.
Okay.
She's gotten like embroiled in this whole like criminal underground. So something like an information broker.
Sure.
Very like, again, Liara Tassoni from Mass Effect 2, or the person that she ended up replacing, the shadow broker. I could see us like going down to a planet and incognito even,
Sure.
which is why the ship is probably not going to be around to pick us up for a while. Ship had probably dip out of orbit, or otherwise it would be raising suspicion.
Yeah.
And yeah, kind of a not very different situation from the one you recruited her in.
Yeah. Yeah. That's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I mean, he's gonna do something to try and impress you, and it's all gonna work out. It's all gonna work out. He did say everything's gonna be fine. And
yeah, just like old times. Just like old times.
Just like old times, absolutely. Okay, so other players conduct the flow of this minigame. We describe what has changed about them since we last saw them. Obviously, your tech got broken, and so yeah, you're trying to deal, and yeah, he hasn't changed much except for like trying to main disguised. I mean, like what do we think? We're just like kind of going in as like just regular merchants or traders or something like that? Is that what we're disguised as?
Yeah, I could see that. When you came and recruited Harmony, were you dressed in like uh roguish, rakish
Oh yeah.
captain's clothes?
Yep.
Maybe this is something. Oh god, thank God for media references. Maybe this is something more like Kasumi's mission from Mass Effect 2, where it's like it's a posh event
Oh
and we've got
God.
to be like dressed to the nines. Full sequin ball gown for Harmony, Captain Tal Kai in a space tuxedo.
These guys hair slicked back and all this kind of jazz. Sure.
Yeah,
Sure.
like groomed, the the whole facial hair stuff going on. Yeah, just like looking good.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we're seriously groomed. Okay, great. All right. So, but he still needs to be able to have his stuff like so he's got like full on like robe tailcoat kind of thing so he can hide his weaponry just like he would if he had his like, full on sleeveless duster. So I mean like, he's not going to give that shit up.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
yeah. Um okay. Da 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 da. All right. So other players conduct the flow of this minigame. Take turns leading the crew members in their battle against the enemy. On your turn, choose one. Okay. So, uh, Jazzy, Elle, you would take turns and you would pick one of us to either uh, to pick a challenge or to pick a vulnerability. And to make this quick, it would just basically be like, one turn each.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, why, since Harmony is sort of the one who is most like well versed in this planet and like this contact and all that,
Mhm.
why don't you start by picking a challenge?
I pick a challenge.
Yeah. So page 31. Yep. Pick one of
Yeah,
those
yeah.
challenges. Yep.
Let's just go right to the letter of it and say I want to execute a complicated move that served us well in the past, but it's been a long time since we've pulled this off, and I draw a card. I've never been so scared for a card draw in my life. It is black.
Okay. Oh, well, look at this. Ha ha ha.
We execute it perfectly, just like before. I keep this card in my hand, and I think it's that, so like uh Captain Tal Kai is blasting stuff away, and uh maybe one of the guns is running dry of ammo, and it's like it just so happens that in a previous or a different timeline I know where there's ammo to be found, and I just like rip this hole in time, and a gun goes like flying out of an alternate timeline to Tal Kai, and like you just got to catch it, and like sure enough it's like a if I give me a second to make Tal Kai cool, Tal Kai like catches it like mid pivot turn and like just blasts some guy away, just a full moving reload.
I mean, I just feel like I'm watching, like, also, like, partly The Matrix, like, as he's, like, kind of, like, doing a turn, like, in a midair and shit. Oh, yes! Got skip. Oh, yes! Oh, my gosh. Or something from, oh, God, my brain. Oh, what is that movie with Christian Bale? It's one of my favorites. Oh, God. Uh, Gun Kata. That's all that's coming in my brain
Yeah.
but right now, but I can't think of the name of the movie. Okay, anyway. Yeah. Elle, give me a vulnerability or a challenge.
Yeah, let's see. Um, I'd like the captain to pick a challenge.
Okay. Oh. Oh, crap. I recognize someone helping the enemy, a traitor who was once part of the crew. They know exactly what to say to get under our skin. I draw a card. Yeah, so I mean, like, one of the nameless red shirts or whatever like that. Yeah, I think this is it's like somebody helping out the contact who gave us away. Um, yeah, I think like he goads us. Like he was like one of the under engineers or something like that who helped us with the ship in the first wars or something like that. And maybe he's dancing, like he's gotten to a higher position or whatever, and we see like some of the older tech, or maybe like we see that he's garnered some of the progenitor tech now. Like maybe that's his reward for working with them. And I draw a card. Oh boy. Yippee. Crap! Red. They play me easily. And of course, I give away a critical secret. Fudge. Pride goeth before a fall because my captain sucks. Yeah. And I probably say something in the heat of the moment. The traitor gets away, and this card goes into the enemy pile because I'm a dumbass. Yes. Okay. Yeah, I think he smiles like, with that smile of like, you gave away something, you shithead. And I realize it too late, and I'm like looking down at you, and then you're already looking up at me like, yeah, you're a dumbass. Oh, crap. Okay. You want to take like another turn, like just like one more turn each?
We can, yeah.
Yeah. Mori, go ahead and give Harmony a challenger vulnerability.
Um, I actually kind of want to pick up from the captain if we're okay.
Oh, okay.
Given that you just like sort of gave away like vulnerable information, I think it's time for you to pick a vulnerability.
The enemy is surrounded. Things look bad. Do I pick a card or do I say how I really feel about you? I like picking cards, but I also like saying how I feel about you. Choices, consequences. I know, right? I love chat. I'm not going to give into my usual urges, and I'm going to actually pick cards. Push myself to distract them, hoping that'll give you the opportunity you need. And I'm going to draw a card. Red, it goes to the enemy's pile because I am such a dumbass. Crap-a-doodle-doo. Okay, go for it.
I think Elle can give either of us a
Yeah.
challenge.
Sorry,
compilation.
I'm too busy being silly in chat.
We were just mad. We were like, how dare you?
I know! I know! I
You're
know!
gonna play the fuckiest fuckboy, and
I
then now
know!
you just.
This is my punishment. This is my punishment. I get the
It
bad
is.
cards. This is my
It
punishment.
is.
It's about
This
No,
is-
I just need to.
No,
I need to.
I
I need
support
to play
this.
I have to play
This
to
is
type.
the Lord.
Otherwise, I need to play
Straight
to
up.
type. I need to play to type. Otherwise, I get punished, and this is my punishment. I get you. I get you. I have you now. I
Jesus
get you.
didn't die for this, Mats.
He's dying now. He's dying now because I'm a dumbass. I get you. I get you.
Yeah, I'll let Harmony choose a vulnerability as well.
Oh boy. Secret weapon or offer they know I can't refuse.
Oh no! Son of a bitch!
Well, I know what the peanut gallery is champing for. So I'm gonna give them what they want and say the secret. No, absolutely. The enemy announces an offer. They know I can't refuse. And I think it has to do with the fact that the progenitors will welcome Harmony back if she turns the captain over now and we can build paradise together. And they start describing this city that does not exist, will never exist if we win. A full on, yeah, paradise. I think maybe not our trader friend, maybe they were just an underling, but there's like an actual progenitor in the room with us. We're speaking over a PA system, and talking about how the galaxy in this timeline is so dark and broken, and its people are suffering. And he talks about this a city. I'm gonna give it a name just to make it hurt even more. We're gonna call it Lumina. And he talks about this colony Lumina, and maybe even the captain has heard of this before, but it's you know, it's the sci-fi version of the city on the hill. It's perfect, it's ivory in every way. It's a city of silver and ivory, and there's, flowing waterfalls and rainbows and birds flying like a John Woo movie. He says, you still have a place in Lumina. And there's really only one response I could possibly have to this. And we watch the world go quiet around Harmony for a long time. Maybe even Tal Kai is fighting and there's explosions and a body goes flying by, Wilhelm scream. And beneath her face mask, her little clear bubble helmet, we just watch a single tear just like slowly roll down her cheek. And it sort of matches where one of those light pulses go by. And she stands up and tears open a rift in time to give Tal Kai the opening that we need to fight this guy back. So yeah, I hesitate for a long moment before I ignore their offer and attack. Do you berate or console me?
I think after the moment he realizes what you've done, it's like, he uses your moment to, work off of the flow and attack as well. But I mean, like, you could have given me up. I would have understood. Even as he's fighting, like he's flinking, like, they're fighters or whatever, warriors around. You could have had Lumina.
Maybe I could have, but I would never feel home there.
And before he goes off to to watch your six, I'm sorry to have lost your dream.
They want to take more from you than dreams. Fight back or lose it all. Those are your options.
Fight back. Of course. And he'll go back to back with you, and you'll fight.
That moment, a gunship helicopter just like does that side strafe, like float into a window. Like, here we go.
Here we go. All right. When everyone's had a turn, crew member who went the furthest to impress us chooses an it. So for the people that were running the fight, who was the one that went the furthest? I'm gonna just vote Harmony. God damn.
I think
Yeah.
Harmony makes sense to me too. Yeah.
Absolutely, totally. So you choose an end.
Okay.
Page 31. Yep.
Let's see. I mean, we're facing down a big giant gunship. I feel like we win, but just barely. The enemy gets away and takes something important, irreplaceable. I just don't know what exactly that is, so I'm very keen to hear other people's suggestion of what they could take away from us.
Important and irreplaceable.
Knee jerk is Harmony's stabilizer.
Oof. Yeah.
I mean, that's going to have some severe implications for like the rest of the story. Because important and irreplaceable means I'm not going to get it back easily. So I'm keen to hear other ideas, devil's bargains, anything.
I don't think I have a better idea than the stabilizer. I think that's really
Yeah.
cool
Yeah.
and devastating.
I mean, like,
Yeah.
even if we find something that could possibly replace it, it's not going to be as good as the stabilizer because it'll
Yeah.
be something that is either like an older model, something that is not as dependable, or it's going to be something that is, yeah, it's going to be just a lot more unreliable.
It's also poetic after having an emotionally destabilizing experience
Yes.
being like time destabilized as well. It
God
feels
dang
It's all
good.
it.
about symbolism.
Symbolism.
No
Poetic
subtext.
cinema.
No subtext whatsoever. Absolutely not. Okay. All right. So that is that's what's gone. What's important that they took away from you.
Yeah,
Fuck.
I think Harmony chucks it at the gunship, and it's incredibly volatile. And yeah,
Boom.
she combines it with something else, and yeah, there's just a massive explosion.
I mean, like that could be something that, like, we both agree that that's the thing that, like, we do it to
There's
take
only
it
one
out,
way to do this,
extract it.
Captain.
Yeah, you throw, I shoot. Yep,
There you go. Yeah.
there you go. It makes a great spectacle, though. It's incredible.
Does Tal Kai hesitate before? Does like he try and talk Harmony down from like throwing her stabilizer away? When she's like, Captain, there's only one way we can deal with this, and you know what it is. And like she's already like undoing her the straps that like keep it bound to her.
I think he asks you the question before when you get ready to throw it up. He asks you the question. It's like, am I the captain that you'll stay with when I shoot?
I think she would respond much more quickly and wittily than I can, but yes. Or what she'll actually say is, now's not the time.
Of course. But yeah, I mean, that's going to be the kind of ask question he's going to say.
Yeah,
He's going to
yeah.
ask. So, yeah. But he'll probably say it more wittily than I can. Anyway, okay. So that's how we end that particular segment. Okay. Loyalty draw. 2 crew members involved in the battle. Each draw a card face up. Please, God. Come on. Get away from him. Ah! Fucking A. Red. Enemy grows stronger. Yeah. Describe a brief glimpse of the enemy and how they become more terrifying. Yay. You want to go first, or shall I?
I'm working on something, so if you've got something ready to go, feel free.
Yeah, I think after the spectacle of the the glitch tech getting blown up in front of the gunship, and then essentially like causing part of the gunship or like most of the gunship to glitch too, because it's affected the time distortion around the ship itself, or the ship. I think in a different place, the progenitors have tracked this development, and some are talking to each other and saying, "She did not take the offer of Lumina. We need to find other ways to bring her back into the fold. I have a way. Do tell." And that one that said they have a way shows something on a data pad to the third, and that person's eyes will widen. We don't see what it is, but
On a Class A civilized planet, full civilization, very sci-fi, floating cars, billboards, that kind of thing. On a rather ordinary day, out of seemingly nowhere, a massive chunk of the skyline begins to glitch and the air parts, and a single silver and ivory spire materializes in the middle of the capital area of the main city of this planet Horus 4 from a different timeline.
Goddamn. Okay. Jazzy. Minigame.
Certainly.
What would you like to see?
What would I like to see? Elle, would you be up for a who do you think you are between Max and Mori? Because I think it could be interesting to have it now and then sort of see like, do we come back to that in next sessions? You know, like I don't want to let it simmer too long. I feel like it's interesting to just have it explode and then see what happens from that. But I'm also okay if you know we do feel like no, it needs to wait a bit.
No, we can do it now.
So sure. Yeah, let's do that then. 79. I like to think that maybe this is like happening while Harmony and the captain are like
Yes!
off planet, like having their own fight, and we're just chilling, and then it goes bad.
I love this shit. Go ahead.
So yeah, who do you think you are? Yeah, I said what I said. Who do you think you are is a mini game for two crew members on the verge of a full-blown confrontation, dragging hidden and unnamed emotions into the light. When you choose this minigame, choose another character to begin the scene with you, Max. Someone who brings out the worst in you. I think that's interesting. Others can join the scene whenever they want, but I think as if we do set it at the same time, probably a bit weird. But like if you think it's more interesting for either of you to be there, you know, obviously you can do that. So I will ask Max what sparked this confrontation and why neither of us can back down.
I think it would be a really interesting echo of the moment we had early in the session if Max, being like sort of a part of the ship in a way, has been using his capabilities to like read your correspondences and has seen that you've been messaging with your son.
Mhm.
And perhaps he wasn't going to say anything yet, but you walk in on him, like maybe like very. I assume that if we're setting this at the same time as the other scene, then it's probably late-ish at night. There was like a party, right? They were at. So Max does not expect you to walk in when he has the readout up on this like huge monitor and is like poring over it, trying to glean your secrets.
Mhm. Yeah, what's at stake? Why can't we just like not have this confrontation?
I
Is it?
think. Go
Go
ahead.
ahead. No,
No,
you go
no,
ahead.
please.
I didn't have a full idea, so you go ahead.
Um, Well, I think for Max, it's like knowing that you have a personal and like familial connection with the enemy is one thing because he could perhaps be convinced that that's just something in your past and you're not keeping it up, like you've severed the relationship. But this is undeniable proof that
Mhm.
you are in contact with this person, and it for him, it's a clear and present danger.
Yeah, I was gonna basically add a little bit to that. Do you think it might have triggered like an automatic lockdown? Like, you know, like your system triggered, like saw a threat and it immediately triggered like a protective measure where we're just kind of locked in this room and you cannot undo it until either the threat feels like it's neutralized or you no longer believe it as a threat.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that.
Yeah. So yeah, so what's at stake is basically we cannot do anything else unless you know I'm not actually a threat and your systems are sort of like locked in. Each crew member describes what has changed about them since we last saw them. During the confrontation, anyone may ask for details about the locations, relationships, or circumstances. The player whose character has the most anger in their heart will take the first turn. On your turn, choose a leading question that your partner will answer. When we have asked 2 leading questions each, the character who revealed the most chooses a closing question. So what has changed about Max since we last saw them?
I wonder. I think it's a feature of Max that he doesn't change much, at least not on the outside. But I think perhaps this is the first time you've seen anything cross his face that seemed like anger, annoyance, you've seen confusion, you've seen, and there's a little bit of that right now too, but you've never seen him just look like he's about to explode.
Mm-hmm. And I think for Mori, I think because, yeah, this is night. I like to think maybe she was, like just getting a drink or like something like very nonchalant, but saw you and was like, oh, that doesn't look good. And then like all of that happened. So I think she's like in, basically pajamas, like very vulnerable, like just very simple clothing. And I think we see she has like this blue navy skin that has like these glowing celestial sort of patterns on it, being born on that like star harvesting planet. I think, we all came from Stardust, but for her, like that's a very like they literally came from Stardust. I think like her people aren't maybe not born, but they're like literally breaking out sort of out of metaphors, like eggs almost. Um, but I think we see that like hidden away, you usually do not see this. Um, but I mean, symbolically, it's got to be the chest. Like, it's got to be like over a heart. We know that she has evidence of her devotion to the captain. And I think what that is under her skin, you can kind of see like those time glitches, like what Harmony does sometimes. But it's like contained under her skin, like you would see veins. But this wound is there and it's just shifting. Um, and she's never told anyone this, but you can see it now. Yeah, and I think like she looks tired. She really does. Who starts? Who has the most anger in their heart? I feel like it might be Max, to be honest.
That makes sense to me, yeah.
Yeah, at least at the start, because Maury's kind of coming into this like, wait, what's happening? Oh shit, this is happening.
Okay, so I take the first turn, and on my turn, I choose a leading question that my partner will answer. When we've both asked 2 leading questions each, the character who revealed the most will choose the closing question. Okay. I think when he hears you come in and feels the emergency system engaging, it's like it takes him a few moments, a long while before he even turns, like he's trying to stabilize himself. And I think when he does, he just gets right to it. He'll question your loyalty to the crew, saying, please tell me exactly how long it will be before you betray us. I don't do well with vagueness. I require precision. Days, weeks,
No.
hours.
No, you don't get to say that to me. You left, Max. You come crawling back now, and you ask me? About loyalty, you ask me? How long I stay would tell. I stayed years. Every second of my life, I stayed and you left. So you don't get to ask me this now. I know that you have a heart that is not truly yours, and you can give it to whoever you please. But I only have the one, and you will not question it.
You realize that I have to tell the captain about this.
Why don't you? Show me what you are then. Show me that you cannot understand another human being, but you are just program, just code, pretending. Show him. He will understand, and you will know forever that you cannot.
What is it that I am to understand from this? He gestures at the messages.
Read it. Read it. Am I saying where we are? Am I saying how to defeat us? Am I saying where your weak points are? I am talking to my son, Max. To my child. Do you understand that? Read them.
I don't need to read them to know that this one heart that you speak of is not with the captain. If you have one heart and it loves entirely, completely, you've stayed with the captain, yes. That was your privilege.
Privilege. You could have done it, Max. And if you can't, then what good are you?
I came when I knew the captain needed me.
No. You came when you knew there was more from the captain you could take. You knew. You came back when you knew he would be the captain again. And you could go back to pretending. This code inside of you that wants to be useful. You're using him, and you pretend that it's for his own good.
And you stand next to him for years and years and years and pretend that you're in prison.
I don't. All I want is to talk to my son.
Then go. He looks at the door that is like sealed shut at the moment. I don't mean to stop you.
I can't.
Why? You have free will.
I do. And I choose to stay. You need the captain. The captain needs me.
Captain doesn't know who you are.
Tell him. If it will make you feel better, Max, tell him. Maybe then he'll love you. Is that what you want? Do you want to destroy what he holds dear so that he'll have nothing but you and you'll tell yourself that it was necessary? Is that what your love is?
I want to give the captain a choice.
He has a choice. He could ask me. He could, just for once, care to listen to me.
I'm listening now. If you're truly innocent, then tell me what you have to say.
I just want to talk to my son. I know that he is from a timeline that I'm not. That means that he and I will never truly be together. These stolen moments are all we'll ever have. I just want to tell him that I love him. And I won't tell him about the crew. I know that I can't stop this. My love isn't worth a galaxy. But that doesn't mean it doesn't hurt. You're right, it's selfish. It's selfish, but I want one thing. Just one thing that I can have, that I don't have to sacrifice, that I don't have to justify myself for. I just want to talk to my son. And for as long as he's still here, I want to tell him that I love him. Will you take that from me? Will you tell me? Will you truly tell me that if I love someone like that, I should not be here?
I think Max, as you speak, is flashing back to memories of being in the womb, of the strange, comforting sort of sensation of not being in a body, not having these strange and overwhelming desires and feelings and senses, and just being connected with something larger. And I think he'll say, if I could open a link and you could speak with him, truly speak with him just one time, and then never again. Could you do that?
This like white sort of, it's not quite like liquid like tears, it's almost more like fairy dust that's kind of like trickling down every time she blinks. It kind of like, in the lowered gravity here, it kind of like dusts up, and she looks again sort of like you physically struck her when you said that she will not, and say, all right, one real conversation with the son I'll never have. I suppose that's more than most. Thank you.
Don't thank me.
Why
It's
not?
for the captain.
Well, he's not gonna do it. So that's what I'm here for. Yeah, I think that's a good end to the scene. Unless there's
Ooh.
something you want to add.
I think that's a good ending too. Yeah.
Who has revealed the most chooses a closing question.
I open it to the public.
I think it's Mori.
All right. Let's see. Oof.
I know.
I don't really feel like any of these fit the way that we've been doing this, but
Yeah, we barely interacted with the game at all.
Yeah,
No,
I
no, no,
fully
no.
forgot. I like
No.
glanced down a few times and I was like, oh, we're
Honestly,
vaguely doing the bluffing parts and
honestly,
stuff.
honestly, when I did this like at the last playthrough, we junked it. We organically just did who the hell do you think you are? And we just did our thing.
Yeah,
We did
I
not
feel like
do this at all. We just
like
did
we were
it.
basically hitting on the spirit of a lot of
Yes.
these. I
Yes.
just feel like we
What did I
just didn't do it like that
what was the general
structured.
rule? Elaborate
Yeah,
freely, ad lib. That's what we
exactly.
did. It's impossible because once you go at it, you're pretty much going at it. There's no way to stick to the questions with any totality. So just whatever. What's closest? What's closest for the
What's
closing questions? If
closest?
not, we'll just go
Yeah.
to the loyalty draw. It's fine. I don't care. I think we're fine.
I feel like maybe the closest is I confess that my feelings for you distracted me from the truth. And I think the feelings here, I feel like there's a lot about Mori and Max where Mori is like maybe not very comfortable with Max not being like organic or like human, so to speak.
Yeah.
And I feel like the same like with Max, like there's a lot of like, oh, you stayed with the captain and like all of that.
Yeah.
So I confess that my feelings for you distracted me from the truth. What truth am I hiding from you? Actually, no. I'm so sorry. My ability to choose is like not great.
It's fine if you don't think that it fits.
Yeah, let's then say I keep my guard up and pretend I'm unaffected. I don't think I'm pretending to be unaffected, but I'm definitely like pretending I have my shit together a lot more than I do, right? I feel like it's that, like, Mori being like, oh, like being like so noble to be like, oh, thank you for this. Like, no, Girly is fully dying here.
Sure.
How can you tell this is all an act? I suppose that's for Max. How can you tell that like Mori is like trying very hard to keep it together, but this has really shaken her to her core?
I think it's that though you say this one conversation will be enough, and Max sort of takes that at face value at first. I think over the next days or however long, Max will hear you kind of going over snatches of the conversation with your son, kind of replaying them as though you're still there, as though the conversation, the link has never closed for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I want to draw cards. So let's say I escalate and then we'll figure out what the hell that looks like. I just want to draw a card.
Sure. Go ahead.
Nobody can stop me.
No, that's fine.
Okay. On the red to be cut to the enemy and see how they have gained formidable defenses. Yeah, I think I'll just keep it easy, right? I think opening that link was a mistake. I think Max shouldn't have done it. And I think maybe we see that, we see like the entail of that conversation, and I think, we can have that scene maybe if we think it's necessary or refer to it, but you sort of like end there. And from like Maury's perspective, the screen goes blank. There's like a bunch of like code and security measures that go up. But we see, like in the blank screen where she just stares at her weeping reflection, it changes to her son who's still staring. And it's like a two-way mirror. And he is just watching his mother stand there and weep. But he can still see her. And everything that is going on.
God damn. All right. 2 crew members involved in the confrontation. Each draw a card, face up for the loyalty draw.
Oh my goodness, fine.
Son of bitch. For the
This
recording,
is
red yet
incredible.
again. Fuck.
Yeah.
All right, so you know how this goes. How does the enemy become more terrifying?
Yeah, I think I'll just keep it simple. I think we see her son, who we should name at some point, but I'm bad with names. We see her son looking at his weeping mother, and for a moment, like it's sort of like the screen is, like the tears, the dust is around his face as well. And then his eyes just go very hard and cold. And he just says, I'm gonna get her out of there. And I think we see maybe like someone is sort of like reaching out as if to be like, no, but he brushes them off and storms away.
He should be named Avi.
Sure, why not?
And I think we see perhaps later that night, even later that night, something strange happen to Max. He falls asleep for the first time, kind of involuntarily depowering in front of the monitor. And he has his first dream, a dream of white spires and flowing waterfalls, a dream of a place where it doesn't matter who he is or what he is, a place of total acceptance that perhaps if it were to come to fruition, this could be a place that he sees himself fighting for, something to want other than the captain's love.
God damn it. Okay.
Happy, you need to get your fucking crew in check, man. They're wildin'.
Ah. Red cards go into the enemy pile, please. Okay. So. End of session. So, yeah. Let's go ahead and do some stars and wishes for this. Holy crap. All the vibes, all the feelings. And there's more to come. 2 more sessions left. I don't know if my heart can take it, but I love it. I love this game. God. I'm not going yet. I just wanted to say that right off the bat.
Sure. Yeah. Stars. Mads, we had a wish last time to see like what the demanding meant for the captain. I think you kind of kicked in the door on that one. I think you, yeah, really showed like what the captain is kind of getting out of this crew. And I thought that was very interesting. Um, I also love that we kind of saw like a much more insecure side of him where he was like, do not call me a hero, and like, wait, what are you saying? Why are you not talking to me? Like, oh my God, like sort of the panic there. Um, and I really, really want to star um like, do you talk Harmony down? And then just like the most selfish question. Like, if I fuck you over, will you still love me? Like, no concern for Harmony was shown. Like, no, this is, not gonna be good for you. Like, you need to be careful. No, no, no. Are you gonna love me? And I thought that was like a quick way to show, yeah, like sort of the fucked up selfishness of the captain and like what that role means for him and like why it's so important that this like I can start to really see like how it all fell apart last time, right? Like thought that was just a really great way to sort of show how the captain could fall and like where it might go wrong. Kevin, yeah, I loved you going with the like the time glitching and then like really like adding to that and then ending with the chrono stabilizer getting blown up in a Too Fast and Too Furious kind of way. Really great, really fantastic. Um, and I really like how Harmony sort of keeps this like her interactions with the captain were very interesting, where she's like putting on a lot of overtures, but then like keeps pulling away when it gets real, which I thought was interesting. Um, and yeah, I just loved the description of like the machine whirring and fucking up and Harmony's like initial starting to glitch. I thought that was super cool. Elle, yeah, I love how subtle you play Max, like this machine, like this organic robot kind of vibe, where it's like, yes, you know, that's my code, that's my purpose. But then like showing these subtle cracks sort of in that, like very, very Legion, very does this unit have a soul? Um, so yeah, I thought it would be interesting to play Mori as someone who's like, no, you don't. To sort of like challenge that and be like, well, you know, you are programming, that is your purpose. And I really liked Max kind of like pushing back against that. And I mean the fucking fanboy moment, that was so disgusting in a very fantastic way. Like, oh my God, Max. No, no, fantastic. I really love that. Wishes. I would love to see some more Mori Harmony. Like we got a little bit of a vibe there, but I feel like there's gotta be a lot more tension simmering there. I would love to see the captain have a an emotional conversation where he doesn't immediately try to seduce someone or tries to like sort of be like, can we just smooch and not do this? I think that would be very interesting to sort of see what it takes. And yeah, I mean, I would love to see how this is gonna impact Mori. Um, if there's like more that Max and Mori have to hash out on that front, or if it's like bleeding over into her relationship with the other two crew members. If Max does indeed tell the captain. These are all very interesting questions to me.
I'll go ahead and go. Even though I'm not prepared. God, the melancholy vibes of this game are just absolute peak. Um, yeah, there's and even like in the middle of like tense, yeah, Too Fast, Too Furious, high explosion action movie. We're putting all the pyro budget into this fight scene. There's still like, how do we find the melancholy in this? And I don't know how, but it's damn impressive. Um, star to like the callbacks. This group is really good at listening to each other and building off of each other, and I think it's absolutely fantastic. First, even like almost particularly actually like the small moments where in the Harmony Mori scene, where Harmony's like he's cooking and Mori's like, oh no, is it a souffle? Just absolutely fantastic. And then of course Max's Lumina callback, um, just really building on this narrative that comes out of sometimes a fugue state, where I just have word associations and just say things. Um, yeah, star to the fights between Max and Mori. Star also to Jazzy last session saying, I'm not going to play the Reformed because I want to stay quiet and in my conflicts. And well, we'll see how that goes. Um, fantastic though. I love the vibes that the character conflicts are generating. And Captain Smoky Hottie Pants, just being fantastic. But also to echo what Jazzy said, understanding why the crew fell apart, when it did, why it did, how it did, and starting to see those cracks come again. Um, and I'm curious to see who's willing to give it all for this crew and also why. Um, yeah, So that's kind of a wish. I do definitely want to see the at first I had an idea of what the Max and Harmony scene was going to be, and now even if it is still in the infirmary, I feel like there's just more layers ready to happen there. So I'm very excited to see that. And yeah, I think Harmony Mori, we set up some stuff today, so I definitely think sooner or later we're going to see those pins come down, and I'm curious to see what it's going to be between them. So I might have more stars and wishes as I think of them, but I think I'm going to go ahead and turn it over for now.
I can go next. A lot of mine have been said, so I'll try to be brief. Just a general star for all of the red card narrations, those cutaways to the enemy. I think everyone did a really great job of one, like just narrating very evocative scenes that were like punchy and really easy to picture. But also both making the stakes larger and keeping the personal connections at the forefront, like the connections to the character and their personal stakes, is difficult to do, and I think everyone really managed that very well. So that was really cool for me to see. Um, for Kevin slash Harmony, yeah, losing the stabilizer, incredibly impactful choice. Really, really excited to see how that changes things moving forward. And I also just wanted to call out the image of Harmony's single tear being illuminated by an explosion or like a light flare or something during that scene with the captain. That was great. Um, for Jazzy slash Mori, I really loved that uh, that short moment with the child at the very end of your scene with Harmony, and how that kind of echoed your yearning for your son. In that scene with Harmony, your both of your dread regarding the captain's souffle was amazing. I love that little joke. Um, and yeah, I really liked the way that you built up the relationship with your son to like a really interesting climax at the end of the session. And I'm excited to see more about that. Because it seems like the son is becoming a big figure in our portrayal of the enemy, as he should. And for Matt slash Tal Kai, um, yeah, I fully agree that we definitely saw the captain's more demanding side, but I also really liked the way that you expressed his haunted quality as well. Like he was truly tortured by the past, especially the parts that made him look good, which I think is so telling of how he sees himself in this like fundamental sort of um insecurity. And yeah, I think I realized this session the captain really doesn't like himself like at all. Um, which is perfectly sad. And must be really painful for him knowing that so many of the people in the crew want to believe in his goodness. So I think that's really interesting. And yeah, my wishes, I definitely want to see more Harmony and Mori, so I'm excited for that. Um, I'm interested to know whether Max is going to tell the captain. I'll be thinking about that. Um, I want to see how Harmony's destabilization affects her. I want to see more of Mori's son. And I don't know how this is going to happen, but I want Max to get a smooch. So, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. I mean, um, like some of these little moments here, I'm gonna start because I mean, again, like a lot of these things get mentioned, and I'm like, oh yeah, like, there it is, there it is. Um, the one moment with I can control time on small, and I can't read my own handwriting, and then like the child pipes up with progenitor. I'm like, that was perfect. That's a perfect like cinematic moment of like, there it is, kids saying exactly what like anybody else wants to say, and it's like it was spot on. So star for that moment. Um, just the whole conversation or fight with again um, Maury, like impassioned That's the basic word I'm going to use for how she was trying to talk to Max. I couldn't watch because I was listening hard, and most of the things that you were saying, Jazzy, was just like stab, like right through the heart. So all I could do was listen, and I was still feeling like the stab through the heart. So stars for that. And then, yeah, Kevin, I mean, like, I thought you were very clever with all of the things, with like all the descriptions and like all of the world building. I mean, like a lot of world building in this session, which I mean, I know like Jazzy, you really wanted, and I thought everybody did such a great job in like, calling forth. And it's like, very, very impactful. And then again, like all the little callbacks were just great. But for the things with harmony, like the little touches, and then like, just developing all of that. So the glitching that she was doing as an individual, and then like the tech, and then the tech having to be sacrificed, and then again, all the little character moments. And then, oh, Max being such a fanboy, I think is great. I mean, because that conversation, and I think it was like within the conversation with Mori and Max, but the fact that again, Mori points out that everybody else is enamored with the captain, and she is there for Tal Kai, and she threw it into Max's face about, you just know him as the captain. You're only there because the captain got activated, so therefore you got activated. And it was just like, oh my God, that's just like so true. So if the captain was there, he would totally agree with that. He would totally agree with that, because it's like they don't see me. They see the goddamn title. And that's what got us in trouble in the first place, probably. So yeah, that was amazing. And then of course, like, your reactions, Elle, like as Max, were just spot on, and it was just great. So yeah, like all the different things, like, all the vibes, all of the different character moments, and all the world building. I mean, it was a great session, and I really enjoy this stuff. I would like to see a vulnerable moment too with the captain, without him like trying to seduce the hell out of people. But again, I think personally that that's him covering up his insecurity. He's trying to seduce the shit out of people so they don't notice exactly how broken he is. Oh shit. And he's also a shithead. So my personal opinion. But yeah. So and yes, I would like to see a Harmony Mori moment. And I would like to see Max have a smooch, whether it be from the captain, whether it be from accidental Harmony. Who knows? Who knows? This could be fun. Yeah. So let's see. Did everybody have a chance to choose a moment? Is it me? Is it me next? Oh boy, I have like some choice for me next time. So anyway, you guys have a wonderful week. Happy gaming to you all for whatever you're doing next during this week. And I will see you next time. Oh my gosh, thank you guys so much. Thank
See you
you.
around.
Bye.
See
Thanks,
ya.
everyone.
Bye.